Hello, everybody, and welcome back to You've Been Joshed with Josh. I'm your host, Josh. Episode 3. Yes, episode 3. It is currently October 12th, Tuesday. Um, and if you're listening to this on its release day, Wednesday, which is tomorrow, the 13th, it is a day away from my 1 year anniversary on Twitch.com. Twitch.com, baby. um, Thursday, October 14th is my 1 year on Twitch. Last year in 2020, um, amidst the craziness of everything that was happening, I finally started streaming like I wanted to, and it was October 14th, and I did a small stream with my wife and my best friend JP, who was my moderator at the time. And we played an indie game called Lone Land, followed by some Among Us that ended up not playing out because I couldn't find a lobby. And followed by some Raft, and Raft was like my first game that I played like almost all the way through, because the game's not technically complete yet. But um, yeah, it's just crazy. It's almost been an entire year. Just 2 days away since I started this whole thing, like just everything from the get-go. I didn't know what I wanted to talk about this week on the podcast, solely because I got a little under the weather. I was doing a lot of work for the channel, and planning out some guests that will be coming on, and trying to figure out the best way to have them on, and make it easy for them to schedule a time and figure out what we wanted to do and all of that. So I was like, you know what? It's been a year. It's been a whole year on Twitch. Let's have a laid back podcast. Welcome to You've Been Joshed, the podcast where I talk about things that I find funny. But today we're not going to do that. No, we're gonna have a laid back one. We're gonna talk about some milestones, how we feel about how I feel about being on Twitch for a year, and now how I feel about being on Twitch, comparable to when I started, and then just reminiscing a little bit, because it's a lot of time. We're allotted a certain amount of time in life to do the things we want to do, and some people never get to do what they love. And I spent a year, more than planning for, but a year streaming, um, doing what what made me happy, to try to make something of that and make it a career. And I've been fortunate enough to see that come to fruition. You know. Plus, if you're tuning into the podcast and you've never watched a stream, this will give you a little insight on myself. And it's a little insider knowledge. I'm sure I've talked about a couple other things in passing on stream, but some people who watch the stream will get to know me a little bit better. So why don't we start from the beginning? Why don't we start from the get-go? Let's talk a little bit about the jobs that I've had. Let's talk a little bit about the jobs that I've had. All right. Um, Kind of like what we talked about last week on the podcast. If you didn't catch that one, we talked a little bit about childhood. Uh, I was fortunate enough growing up to have the things that were available to me. They weren't much. We were very poor growing up. But my parents somehow pulled it out of their ass to let me do theater and teach me morals and teach me work ethic and such. And I think that derives from knowing that as a kid, if I wanted to go to the movie theater to see a movie, see the new Avengers movies, um, Spider-Man, get lit. Uh, if I wanted to do anything for myself, that was just my personal stuff, not with the family, or a gift from my family. I needed to make my own money to do that. So I delivered the newspaper. I did that for a while. Um, my dad got me a job shoveling and raking and taking care of someone's yard for a year or so. Um, I I wanted to take it into my own hands, and I made a little small business called Josh's Balloons or Josh's Balloons. I forget what it's fucking called. I have the business card still. It's really funny. Back when I was really young, and I did like parties and fairs, and there's two shops in my hometown, that a candy store and an ice cream shop that I would stand in front of, and you know, you know, uh, I would make balloon animals and make people's day. um, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I made some decent cash from it as a kid. Um, and I started doing theater, and everyone was like, "Oh, you're gonna go to college for theater, and you're gonna be a performer, and you're gonna be on Broadway, you're gonna be in the movies." And although that seemed fun at the time, that's what I wanted to do. I was like, I don't know. I do like this business aspect thing. And so even though I continued doing in theater in middle school and high school and continue that on, I started making a button business, and I had little custom pins that I did for people. And I did that and made some money from that. And then all the odd jobs like working for a photography company, working at Michael's Crafts, working at Walmart, working at a lumber mill, opening my juice bar right out of high school. Because after high school, I was like, I don't want to do theater. I don't want to do theater as a career. I'd rather do something business oriented. And the opportunity was presented to me to open a business, and I did that. Um, didn't know the fuck I was doing. It was I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And that closed like in a year because just poor money management. Didn't know how to run shit myself. It was just me. I didn't plan it out well. I was an 18-year-old kid just wanting to do something more. And one after the other was just one thing of just like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what to pursue. Just because, when you're a kid, there's all these things that you're expected to know. You're expected to know what you want, and you just gotta go for it. And sometimes you don't find that. Um, so I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and I kept working, and I was working at Walmart, and I got tired of Walmart. I was like, I can't do this. And at the time, my wife and I were still dating, and then we moved in together, and a month later we got married. And I was still working at Walmart, and I was like, you know what? I need to do something for me. I need to actually try something that'll make me happy, even if it's a little difficult. And she was very supportive, and I was like, all right, well, let's look at our options first. So I was like, why don't I get a job that I like more than Walmart? She's like, okay, that's a good starting point. And I started working at Starbucks, and that was a really fun experience. There was learning about coffee and everything was really cool. And it's a job, it's a job. It paid the bills. But I wanted something more, and I was looking at my options, and I was looking over everything, and I was like, hmm, what are my interests? What do I like? Let's think about this. What do I like? I like entertaining people. I like making people laugh. I like video games. Video games are great. I love video games. Uh, I like business. I've tried multiple business oriented things, and they've failed, but now I have a bunch of experience from it, and I've learned from my mistakes, stepping stones. And how can I take everything together and put it into one? And I was an avid YouTube watcher, and I watched streamer clips on YouTube from Twitch. And I was like, content creation is in a rising boom right now. Everyone's content creating. TikTok is getting huge. Um, Twitch is massive, as it has been. Uh, I could entertain people while playing video games, which I love, and eventually, possibly, turn it into a business where I could work for myself and get paid. And so I was like, this could be it. Why not give it a go? You know? Why not give it a shot? There's you have the chance to. You have the chance to. Why not? You know, the tools are out there. It's free to do. You all you need is a computer. Not even. You can use a laptop instead of a desktop. I have a couple friends who stream off laptops. You can stream off your phone. You can stream off your console if you have a console. It's free. It's a free tool online. That gives you the availability to make it into something more. And so I started planning. And because of my analytical mindset and the way that I am, I was said, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it and we're going to plan it out and we're going to be hella, hella detailed about everything. So I started planning out what kind of theme I wanted, what I wanted to do, how I wanted to run my stream, the things that I would need, how to run OBS Studios, how to stream onto Twitch, and set everything up. I watched streamers. I watched all these different things on what I would want to do, and this was the right at the end of 2019, and not 2019. It hasn't even happened yet. No, yeah, 2019. Oh my God, holy shit! I'm sorry. Yes, 2019. what was 1019? No, that was 1,000 years ago. 2019 into 2020. And I was planning this out, and then COVID hit. And it was rough. It was really, really, really bad. Thankfully, Joy, my wife, and I had a place to stay. We were safe. We had just adopted a dog, our dog Bandit, right before everything hit. And so when we had to go into lockdown, she had to keep working and I had to keep working because she's in the medical field. She packages prescriptions, and I worked at Starbucks, which was considered a place where you could get food, so it was required to stay open, basically. And so both of us worked through all of COVID, and we were lucky enough to keep our jobs. But it was hell. It was absolute hell. And I won't go into too much detail, but it really wore me down to the point of a very depressive state of mind. I hated life. I hated the way things were going. I think a lot of people were negatively affected by everything that happened with COVID, not only because of the severe loss of human life, but also just the change in the shift that we saw in the world. Wow, this is really getting deep. But it was hard, and I knew because all I did was stay home, go to work, come home. And work became my escape, but also my hell, because it was the only thing that I did, and also I hated it there. So it was just gnawing away at me. But like a job's a job. It paid the bills. I needed to stay. I was happy to stay. I know a lot of people were losing their jobs and having a lot of bad situations. So I was picking my battles, but also I was looking for something to move on to. And so during that time, I was looking, I was focusing, I was saving, I was researching on Twitch and figuring out if I could just try this out, even just as a hobby on the side. Just go for it while I'm working and try it out. So over the summer of 2020, when things had that lull and then it boosted back up, I took all the time that I needed to figure everything out, research, plan, create, set up OBS, set up my stream, set up my channel, got everything ready, and I said, "Okay, I'm ready to go." And it was August. It was right on my birthday. I got my computer, and I was ready to rumble, and I was ready to rumble, and I still held off for 2 months. I still held off until October because I was picky and I wanted to make sure when I started, I was ready. It was beautiful, and I had everything that I wanted. And then it was October, and I did my first stream, and I absolutely loved it. I would normally wake up at 4 a.m. To open Starbucks. Get home around 2 to 3 p.m., take a shower, hang out with Joy for a bit before she went to work, and then she would go to work, and I would hop on and I would stream. And that was the way it was for a long, long time. And it was rough for Joy and I because not only was I severely stressed at work and I came home for the release of streaming because I loved it, but also streams weren't that great at the beginning solely because of how tired I was. And then also I never got to see my wife because she would work in the evenings, I would work in the mornings. So that way someone was always home with the dog, but then also I could stream and she wouldn't have to be here for it and not, feel like she's being a burden or a nuisance in the background, or you know what I'm saying? But it was interesting in the beginning. I talked about this before. I think it was in episode 1 of how much appreciation and how much probs I give content creators because it is a very, very hard field. And I think it was also in that first episode that I talked about how easily people just give up on streaming because of the lack of numbers and how much it can negatively affect people. But I'm derailing. Derail! Hashtag derail. Sorry, I took a sip of water. Let me stay on track here. I started streaming in October. For about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or something like that. It was just 2 people in chat, my wife and my best friend JP, and sometimes his wife. And it was great. Like at that time, you're just excited to have a few people, and they were talking to me and they were supporting me, and I was playing video games and just relaxing because otherwise I'd be playing video games already just after work, So it was nice to just be on and kind of being like, crazy and funny and trying to make people laugh. And my friend was very supportive, and my wife was very supportive, and his wife was very supportive, and we just hung out and chilled and kept doing things. And I didn't know how to progress. I didn't know how to build upon what I had started. And I took some time and I thought about it while I was streaming, and I knew that the next step would be just networking and finding other people that I enjoyed watching and just getting to know their community. And if it arose that they asked if I streamed, I'd be like, yeah, I do. Do you want to play something? And then I have someone to play with, and then the communities could grow and blah, 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 blah. And so I found some people that I really enjoyed watching, and I watched them for a while, and I felt super uncomfortable self-promoting. They had to self-promote in their Discord. Shout out to Alexander Average and Side of Chips. But I enjoyed watching their content, and I liked hanging out with them. And I think it was one day I was like, I'm gonna make one post in their self-promote and just say like, hey, I stream. If you guys want to check it out, cool. Like if not, no harm, no foul. Um, and I did it, and both of them and their communities were super supportive, and they came over and watched and hung out, and they rated a lot, and then I met other people through them, and it just continued to grow that way. And come December 6th of 2020, I made affiliate, which everyone says it's easy to hit affiliate, but without that starter, it's very hard to. Because you need 50 followers. You need to stream on, I think it's for 8 hours. You need to stream for 8 hours over six separate days or something like that. Um, and then also you need a average of 6 viewers over a course of 30 days. So that chart, that analytic of 6 viewers on over all your vols as an average over 30 days resets after 30 days. It kind of just cuts off the last day and adds a new one on, and it keeps going from there. So you have to have an average of 6 viewers per stream. And I hit that, and it was, I still remember, I still think back on it. I was freaking out. I was so excited. I was so excited. I called my wife. She was at work. I was freaking out. I had a friend who I worked with. Shout out to Keegan, who came over and helped me set it up, and we were freaking out, and we were just like, it was crazy because I was technically officially working for Twitch for myself, and I could start making money on Twitch just by doing what I was already doing for 2 months. So at that point I was like, okay, this is, things are getting crazy. I need to just continue this growth. I need to just continue what I'm doing and having fun, and that's the most important thing. And and then just time progressed, and things got crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier. And I don't. This past year has just been. It's been unbelievable. I can't express how much this year has meant to me, both mentally and spiritually, I guess. I feel things. No, I just remember it come January, my view count, my followers, everything just went through the roof, and it continued to go that way. And then come April, only 4 months after after I hit affiliate, I had made the decision with my wife. We agreed upon it, even though it was a risk to take, with how my job was going and how much streaming had meant to me, and the stuff that I knew I could get done and do that I wasn't able to do with the time that I had with working a part-time job and doing Twitch, was to go full time. And so April 16th, I believe it was. Yeah. April 16th. Let me just double check. Oh my god. April 4th, sorry. April 4th of 2021, I went full time. And that was the start of just insanity. Absolute insanity. I think I only had like 650 followers or something like that at the time. And it was a very risky thing to do because that's not that many followers. And I didn't have that many subs, and I didn't have that many viewers. But I knew that I could take the pay decrease because I could make more of what I had and be happier. And Joy, my wife, was super supportive, and I love her so very much. And she was very supportive of that, and we did it. We made that decision. I went full time, and it was exciting at first, and right before summer hit in May, I decided to do something crazy, and I was just like, I popped on stream early one day, and I was just like, hey guys, I'm not gonna get off stream until I hit 1,000 followers. And Joy was super supportive of that, but it was just a little crazy. It was a little crazy. And sure enough, in 48 hours. Now, I thought I was planning to be on for a week. I was like, I have the time now. I'm full time. Fuck it. Why not do something crazy? Um, and Sure enough, in 48 hours, I actually got it done in 44. But I stayed on for 48 just to be like, I streamed for 2 days. Hell yeah. Um, 2 days straight. um, I hit 1,000 followers, and I got like 300 and some followers in the course of 2 days, and it was insane. It was absolutely insane. And I don't want to sugarcoat anything. The podcast is me expressing myself in the truest form that I can. Um, it's basically my journal. This is what I'm planning. I want this podcast to be a laid back, open book version of me. The Twitch version of me is me as myself, just goofing off and having fun, but without a care in the world. The podcast will be me joking off and talking about things that I normally don't talk about on Twitch, as well as giving you guys insight onto me and the process and backstory and talking to guests and whatnot. So that being said, this summer, this past summer that just happened, right after all the craziness with the 48-hour happened and whatnot, it got very hard. It got very, very hard. I knew that taking the risk of going full time would be a risk. I knew that it would be a risk, and it would be less money in our pockets and all these things, and but we were living paycheck to paycheck in the summer. Things were opening back up. A lot of people were out doing vacations, so we didn't have a lot of viewers, and just analytics were down. And I'm a very analytical mindseted person. I have a very analytical mindset. Wow, that was a rough sentence. Oh my god. Um, I have a very analytical mindset, so I like to look at numbers. I like to do that, and most of the time they don't affect me. Normally they don't, because I like seeing the fact. But over the summer and seeing that decline, and then starting to fear about not being able to pay the bills and not being able to do that, I was worried, because I didn't want to stop what I was doing. I didn't want to stop streaming or cut back on the hours that I just gained from going full time to get a part-time job and then do that. And so I was like, all right, I need to work harder, because there's always more that you can do. Um, and so I put my foot forward. I started doing more things, and it's slowly gotten better, and it's just continued on. And yeah, there's a lot of times, just with my own personal doubts and stuff, that I do fear, and I do worry about stuff, and sometimes things do affect me, because we're only human. Uh, and I have issues, and I get depressed about certain things, but at the end of the day, who doesn't? And at the end of the day, I have so much to be grateful for, and I wouldn't change any decision that I made up until this point. Uh, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't be who I am, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I hadn't made the decisions I'm in right now. Um, and I think it's really, really important to reminisce on all that you, as a human being, has done and achieved up until this point. Even if you feel like you haven't done a lot, you've done things to get you to the point you are in right now. And I don't mean to go all philosophical on everybody. It's been a year. I've spent a year of my life dedicated to something that I wanted to make into something more. And I've done that. And I'm continuing to do that. And I could not be more happy. I couldn't. Streaming is so much fun to me. And it's a cliche because everyone's just like, oh, streaming, oh, I love it. But I enjoy making people laugh. I enjoy playing video games. I am a giant child man. I I like making stupid jokes and talking with people and just doing whatever I want. Just having a good time. And I've been able to do that. And it has been an absolute pleasure. I I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change it for the world. But it's important to reminisce, everybody. It's important to reminisce on the achievements you made. Because even though you see other people who are doing more, because there's people with fucking 6.3 million followers and have like so many subs and so many things and just, and stream for 24 hours almost every day. I'm not going to get to that. I would be burned out. Um, but for what you've achieved in the time that you've been on, or the things you have done in your life since you started doing whatever you're doing, it's a lot for you. And I think that's something that people need to remember, not only for like Twitch, because I meet a lot of people who are just starting out streaming, but I feel like that for every situation in life. I mean, if you're trying to make it as a singer, you're always going to be like, oh, there's people who are better at singing than me. People who make out good music. Yeah, of course, there's going to be people who make good music, like so many different genres. But what can you bring to the table that no one else is bringing to the table? Or what can you be like? Hey, I did this. I'm proud of that, and that like that's mine. I did that. And so don't let the numbers bug you. Reminisce on things you've done. And that's what I wanted to do today. I wanted to reminisce on the year that I've had, the achievements that I had. So I'm just gonna start listing some off, and I hope that we can share this moment of me being open and vulnerable with you guys. I promise all the other episodes will be more humorous. It's just this episode on this week, I was like, it's good to talk about these things. It's good to talk about these things, and it gives you some insight on me. So right off the bat, let's just start. I have 1,260 followers as of right now, today, October 12th. 2 days before 1 year. That is a shit ton. That's more. That's more than. Wait, yeah, that's more than 3 followers a day. That's more than 3 followers a day, which is crazy to think about. That I've gotten more than 3 followers a day on average, since I started streaming. And it continues to rise, and like I can't believe that. Like, it's just a number, but it still is like, wow, that's that many people have hit the follow button, which is crazy. I have an average of 24 people. Average of 24 people who watch my streams in every 30-day period. That's the average. And I have streamed. I have streamed for 1,230 hours. In this past year, I have streamed for 1,230 hours. That is so many. That is so much time that I have streamed for. That it's just, that's absolutely insane. And I want to do the math right now because I want to see what that is in I want to see what that is in days. Yeah, I've streamed for a total of 51.25, so a quarter. A day and a quarter of 51 days and a quarter. I've streamed for. I've streamed for a whole like that's 2 months. Basically, I've almost streamed for 2 months straight. That is just crazy. It's just crazy. Um, yeah, it's such a weird thing. It's such a weird thing. Yeah, I didn't expect to. I was really thinking about what I wanted to talk about this week, and I had written some stuff down that I wanted to talk about that was funny, but I was just like, you know what? Um, I really wanted to open up with you guys and just reminisce on this year because I on Friday, it's coming Friday, I'm going to be celebrating it on stream and just doing a long stream and just doing whatever I want and relaxing and hanging out. And we probably won't get into it. We'll probably watch some clips from all the way back when because those are fun to watch. But I thought this would be a kind of a nice testimonial about this past year and how I got from there to here and everything. And with all of that, with all of that being said, all of it, um, I just want to thank every single one of you guys. People who are from Twitch, my family, my friends, um, and the people who are listening to this who probably just found the podcast or it's fucking holy shit, another year from now, 2 years from when I started streaming, and you guys, some people are listening back and going through all of the episodes from the podcast. Hello, welcome. Hi. Hey there. But I just want to thank everyone for the support, for the love, for making this year uh, the craziest fucking year that I've ever had, but the most amazing. And lastly, I wanted to thank my wife um, for just supporting me. Because she puts a lot on her shoulders for me to do this because basically she's bringing in the money for rent and stuff. And the fact that she's so willing to do that for me because she knows and can see that it's making me incredibly happy. Um, I'm just a lucky guy. I'm a lucky guy to have her in my life. And I'm a lucky guy to have all this stuff happen. Because everyone in the world deserves to be happy. Everyone does. But almost everyone out there, unless you're an egomaniac, believes they don't deserve it. And I'm not going to have a pity party or a sob story. But just know that those feelings are there. And I know that a lot of people who are listening can share that same feeling in some aspect of their life. Even though me and myself, hearing about your thing that makes you happy or the thing that you have going on, and you say that you don't deserve it, I'll be like, oh yeah. It's very hypocritical of myself, but yeah, just be you. Just be you. Keep trying, and you'll get there. That's the motto. But no, I just wanted to thank everybody, and I'm very excited for 2022 and the rest of this year, and I'm excited to possibly go to TwitchCon next year, and I hope that all of this whole speech, this whole testimonial of mine, gave you some insight on the process of how I got started and how I feel about things, and hopefully it wasn't just a train wreck of verbiage. um, but I'm excited. I'm excited. There's so many new things coming. We got this podcast. We're on episode 3, which is crazy. Episode 3, like that's just 3 episodes, but at the same time, that's 3 weeks. That's 3 weeks of time. Imagine when we get to 100, episode 100. That's gonna be like, that's 100 weeks. That's 2 years. Like, that's fucking crazy. You know. Um. But yeah. Come check out the stream. If you're a watcher, if you're a listener, I'm sorry. If you're a listener of this podcast, but you haven't come checked out the stream, come check it out. I'd love, like, make yourself known in chat too. If you have the time, come check it out and make yourself known. Say, hey, I came from the podcast, because I'd love to meet you, and love to chat with you and get your opinion on everything, and just meet some new people. And we have a great time on Twitch. It's a whole different playing field than this podcast is. It's a whole different energy. um, but thank you guys. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you listening in and listening to these episodes, because they're interesting. They're interesting for sure. But the last thing I'll say is, if you have any questions that you want to ask me, or if there's anything you'd like me to talk about, or something that you think would be cool, DM it to me, or tweet it at me using hashtag You've Been Joshed, and I'll be sure to answer them on the next podcast, and fit them in where I can. I appreciate it. Share with your friends. I'm going to selflessly plug. Share with your friends. Share the podcast with your friends. Share the stream with your friends. You know, it helps. It helps. It helps. Every little thing helps. But I love you guys very much, and I thank you all for giving me the best year of my life. And with that, I will say, I love you. I leave you. Eat your apples and stay funky, my dudes, as I say on Twitch. All right, guys. Peace.